Good evening. That's Pastor Nate Dubbs here, and I want to welcome you again to our next episode of Unchained, where we're talking about hope and healing that's found for those who are experiencing addiction. We've so appreciated those of you who've been able to log on each night. Perhaps you're logging on for the first time tonight, or maybe watching this video later. We're glad that you're able to be here with us because we believe that there is hope. There's hope found in Christ. There's hope available for those who are going through addiction. And so thank you so much for joining on with us as we're here for night 4. We'd love to hear where you're viewing from. So if you're watching live right now, we want to encourage you to put into the chat comment section where you're watching from. Perhaps you're watching from East Ridge or Chattanooga or Cleveland, wherever you're at. It'd be fun to see where you're watching from. We encourage you to put that in the chat section right now. Thanks again for being here. Also, if you'd like to, we encourage you to hit the like button or the share button to share it with someone else who may be able to benefit from what we're talking about this evening. We want to remind you, if you're just logging on right now, to click the registration link. We'll put that on the screen there for you to see. Those who register will be able to receive an automatic reminder of our programs that take place every night at 7:15 Eastern Time for the next now 6 nights after tonight. So we encourage you to register there. Also, for those who register, you'll be entered tonight to win a drawing of the book written by our presenter, Pastor Richie Halverson, called The Darkness Will Not Overcome. Powerful story about his testimony of being unchained from an opioid addiction. And so we want to get this book into your hands, but only those who click on the registration link for tonight will be able to be entered for that drawing. So we encourage you to do that. Also, we wanted to let you know that after we have our interview this evening, which I'm very excited about, and then the teaching from Pastor Richie, we will have a live Q&A session. And we want to be able to discuss some of the questions that you may have. So you'll notice in the video description link, you'll see that there's a link that you can click on where you can go into a Google form and you can ask questions anonymously. So we encourage you, even as we're going through this interview time, a question might come into your mind for our guest this evening. If that happens, go ahead and click on that link and you can ask a question there anonymously for us to answer at the end of the program. So we encourage you to do that. And once again, we're so glad that you're able to be here with us this evening. I'm excited this evening to have a special guest with us, Dory Trivette. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here and to share.
Yeah, thank you. We've had a chance to interview you before, and you have a powerful testimony that I really think several people will be able to resonate with this evening. So thank you so much. Before we get into it, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a nurse practitioner, but I'm not working currently.
Okay.
And I've got a grandbaby, so I'm enjoying time with him.
Very good.
Yeah, and I live out near Ocoee, so enjoy the water.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful area out
Mm-hmm.
there. Well, Dory, we're excited to have you here because you have a unique perspective on addiction. You've faced actually several challenges in your life, and we're going to have you share just a little bit about those in just a moment. But primarily, ultimately, we want to hear about your perspective about being the mother of a son who was addicted and ultimately ended up losing his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a very personal story, and we just appreciate your bravery and courage to be here to share a little bit about that. Um, earlier we were talking, you shared how some of the earlier challenges in your life before you parented a child with an addiction, some of your earlier challenges really kind of prepared the way for you and kind of grew your faith to face this challenge. Can you tell us about some of the early challenges that you faced?
Yeah, so I married the only guy I dated. I met him at Southern here.
Okay.
And we had 3 kids and fell madly in love. And he ended up getting into drugs as a pharmacist. So that was my first stint of addiction. So not only Christopher, but my husband had done that. Then my first pregnancy, Christopher was born 14 weeks early. He weighed 2 pounds 7 ounces.
2 pounds.
2 pounds
Wow.
7 ounces.
Wow.
He was smaller than a small bag of flour.
Oh, wow.
Weighed less than that. So and I was bleeding profusely. I thought I would die. So I was pretty sure that Satan was out to get him at that time even. Went through that, had health issues mainly I think from worrying about him a lot. I think that wreaked havoc for, like worrying about him for decades it seemed like.
Yes.
And then you'll hear more about his story, which shows you even more things that are going on. But
yeah, and you mentioned also just going through ultimately a divorce with your husband too was a challenging aspect as well to go
hard.
through. Yeah, to go
was
through
very hard.
to go through these different things. Ultimately, we want to talk this evening about what it was like from your vantage point as a parent. To go through and see someone you love very much struggle with an addiction. Can you just share a little bit about how you became aware of your son's addiction and kind of how that affected you?
So Christopher, I think there's a genetic propensity to addiction. And obviously, I just mentioned that his father had that too. And so then Christopher had it. And so I think his pain stemmed from broken family, right? His dad was now absent in his life in essence, and it was just me and the kids. And so he had 2 sisters, so it was me and the kids. But so I think that was part of it. And so what was the question again?
Yeah, just sharing with us the story of kind of how his addiction progressed, like how you became aware of it, and then kind of as it.
So he had learning challenges too. He was diagnosed with ADHD, and they wanted to put him on medication, also bipolar, and his father was out of the picture. And so now I moved down to Chattanooga, this area, to attend Oaks for individual learning for him.
Okay.
Because he was having a hard time. So he started, I'll just be honest, he was molested. And then he acted out of that molestation. And then, so that was, I guess, I don't even know who he was right now because it's kind of like hidden. Yeah. I've dealt with that already.
Yes.
But that propelled him into doing drugs. It was over-the-counter drugs at first, just popping Corsetins and stuff like that. And then it got to smoking pot or doing pot. And then it was pills. And then it eventually got to heroin, doing heroin IV.
And I appreciate you just sharing again. I know that these are very, very tender, difficult things to talk about. Just that there was a lot going against him. There was just a lot of challenges that he had. Although you shared he was such a brilliant young man as well.
He was so smart.
Yeah,
and so gregarious, and so gregarious even when he was in jail too, and he made friends in jail.
Yeah, so a very likable person.
Very likable.
Yeah.
Very witty.
And yet, as you've kind of looked back at his life, you just realize he had many challenges that he was facing. and ultimately there was a progression that you saw, that you're able to see. Probably he was, numbing some of the pain that he had, some of the challenges, and it just progressed from maybe more entry-level type things to harder drugs, and there was that progression taking place.
Yeah, and then unfortunately he was kind of more out of control, and so he ended up going to like residential treatment facilities, and had issues there. Then went from one to another, and I always wanted to keep the family united, and it was really hard. I mean, it was really hard on my girls too.
Yes.
It was hard on me, but it was really hard on my girls. As a single mom, it was super hard.
Yeah, I just can't imagine how, just the normal challenges of raising children and doing it without a huge support network. And then, having a child who's struggling, struggling with this. What was it like to see Christopher, continue to struggle, be enchained by this addiction?
So I just remember, I remember he chose friends that did the same things, and as he did it more and more, the friends got, I would say, darker and darker. Like their behaviors were darker and darker, and he even said that. Yeah. I know that then he ended up. So he went from pills to drug use. He even asked me, like I told you, I'm a nurse practitioner. He's like, "Mom, can you just prescribe me heroin?"
Okay.
And I'm like, "No."
Yes.
I can't prescribe you heroin, and I wouldn't prescribe you heroin anyways.
Right.
But
so he, in some ways, he was open with you.
He was open with me. That's what I miss about him. What I miss about him is he could talk to me, and he would talk to me. But wow.
Yes, it's okay. I know it can be challenging, to be able to remember. A lot of relationships are just complex. I know that he was such an important part of your life, even with the midst of the challenges. You loved him so much.
We argued, we yelled, I remember he did something. We were yelling at each other, and his little sister got in the way and was trying to, keep us from arguing, and we did that. Yes. But I just remember, I think we always said we were sorry. We loved each other deeply, and my pain was from his choices.
Yes.
So much of his choices, and
I love how you're able to highlight that fact, Dory, that even though it was an imperfect situation, one of the things that kind of made it challenging is that you guys still had love in your home.
For sure.
Both were true. You had challenges, but you also had love, and both of them were true. And so you have good memories of Christopher, of course.
I do. I have some good. I have some good memories of him. I remember him talking to me a lot. He would tell me things that I didn't even want to know. I'm like, I don't want. Why'd you tell me that?
Right.
And he was funny. He was so funny. So I miss that Christopher.
Yes.
And I'll tell you more, at the end of his life. I'll tell you more about that later.
Sure. You notice, though, just that progressively things just seem to be getting worse and worse. Things were getting out of control. And ultimately, this is a lot to deal with. You shared that it even affected your health as you worried for him.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I had... I'm still like dealing with stuff, but it's so much better now. But I had like chronic fatigue. They diagnosed me with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. I had insomnia really bad but I truly did seek God. Through every challenge that I've had, I kind of turned to Him, and I just turned to Him. Each challenge made me turn more to Him.
I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that, because again, you and I have had a chance to talk before. Tell us a little bit about how your faith helped you navigate the challenges that you were facing.
That's just it. At first, I'll just be honest. When I read James, I think it's James 1:2 or something. It says, he said something about count it joy when you face trials of many kinds. And I was like, I literally thought, I think I said it out loud, that's ludicrous.
Yes.
How can you find joy when you face trials of many kind? I understand it now.
Yes.
It's because the trials refine. It showed me my weaknesses. It showed me my strength. I realized that I was like judgmental, and I was judgmental, and I was, yeah, I don't know. I know that much.
I appreciate you sharing that part of it too. And Dory, you know, as you went through these challenges that you were facing, I mean, ultimately, I want to get to another part about this in just a moment, which is ultimately getting to the part about how you lost Christopher. We're having just a quick technical difficulty real quick, so
Sure.
we're gonna put this on. For those who are watching here, this is only going to take 1 moment. We just have a quick technical thing, so you'll see a slide go up really quick, but it'll just be 1 moment. We'll be back on because I don't want to
Okay.
get us to be distracted by
Okay.
this very important part of what's going on.
Okay.
So for those who are watching, just give us 1 moment here, and we'll be right back on.
Okay.
So once again, thank you so much for working with us, holding on for that. Again, I've been here with Dory Trevette. She's been sharing about how you've been impacted by going through several challenges, being the wife of an addict, and ultimately, though, really focusing in on your experience of being the mother of your son, Christopher, who is addicted. And you shared how your faith made a huge impact for you. It helped you navigate this. But you know, the challenges kept coming, and ultimately, unfortunately, you received the tragic news that Christopher had died. Can you share a little bit more about that experience with us?
Okay, so by now, Christopher was 29. So
How long had he struggled with addictions?
over half of his life.
Over half his life already. Okay.
Probably since he was like, probably 15.
15. Okay.
So, okay, so yeah, again, what you wanted me.
So you tell us about hearing the news of
Okay.
Christopher's passing.
So the last couple of years of his life, the last few years of his life, he was now in and out of jail for drug-related stuff. And I thought the first time that he went to jail and I prayed and hoped that it would scare him to death so that he wouldn't ever want to go.
Right.
But it didn't.
Okay.
And he even told me that he could get drugs in jail easier than he could on the streets.
Okay.
So it wasn't a great place for him to be.
It just didn't work out.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And so I had so many people praying for him. I was praying for him. But I have to tell you this before, because this is crucial. I had given him up to God fully.
Can you share for those listening? Because again, we've had a chance to hear. I want
Yeah.
people to hear a little bit more about what that meant.
Okay, I'm going to have to tell you a story, and it's a quick story. I'll make
Yes.
it quick. But I was literally, it was a Friday night. I was in the bathtub, and I had the computer on the toilet next to me, and I was scrolling through something. I was just in despair, you know, like with Christopher. And God showed me.
And this was before he had passed away, right?
This was before he
yes.
passed.
Okay.
This was years before he passed.
Yes.
And it was a story of a girl who had been, her mother was 15, and she had gone on a date with this guy that was 16. He ended up raping her. Her parents, she got pregnant from that rape, and her parents made her marry him. So I was like, wow, this sounds like a hellacious life, you know. Then the father had incest with her, you know, and so her life was not good at all. And she met a boyfriend, you know, because she felt odd and unloved. Met a boyfriend when she was like 14 or 15, and then he ended up selling her out to other guys, and then he sold her to another guy,
Oh my goodness.
an older man, and she got pregnant from him, and he took her to an abortion clinic, and she faked it. And she even, she faked it. He picked her up. She was popping pills and washing it down with alcohol. And so to me, I was like, then he let her go after a little while.
Okay.
But to me, it was like God was saying, she went from hell, well, because she ended up meeting a man that loved Jesus. She found Jesus. She met a man that loved Jesus. She had 5 kids that loved Jesus. So it was like she went from hell to heaven.
Because her story ended up being good.
And Christopher had a parent that loved him, and loved him, and I wanted God, and he went from kind of heaven to hell, and I'm like I couldn't understand it,
It was the reverse of
yeah,
that
like
story.
why, but so God, in essence, I felt like he was telling me, you don't know what it takes to save him for my kingdom.
Wow.
And so at that time I said, then do whatever it takes to save him for your kingdom.
So the message that God, as you watched this, you felt like God was impressing you.
Yeah.
You just you don't know what it takes, but you felt assured that God was trying to work in his life.
Absolutely. And I was like, and I said, then do whatever it takes to save him for your kingdom, but don't take him before you've given him an opportunity to be yours. And with that, I had peace.
So that was kind of a major breakthrough moment.
A major breakthrough. Not that I didn't, feel sad and everything, but I had given him over to his Heavenly Father.
Yes.
And now I would sit at the sidelines and like love on him like a mother and everything, but his Heavenly Father was in charge of him. I gave it fully to him.
So you'd kind of given him over to God already, which was pivotal for the news that you heard that he had passed away. Share a little bit more about
that. So when he came out, I was actually at my daughter's place, and I got a call from his grandmother. He had been out of jail for like 9 days, and I think this is important to say too. So during that 9 days, I was also at her house, and I got to pray with him twice.
Okay.
And I got to pray over him once. I went in, and he had the TV blaring. He was sound asleep, and I turned off the TV, and I just felt impressed to pray over him. And I told Satan, he's not yours. He was dedicated as a baby to God. He was baptized in the name of Jesus Christ. He doesn't belong to you. And so when we got a call at Sunday morning about 1:30, and Grandma said the police are here, and I knew that wasn't good. Yeah. So I got dressed, and I was on my way to her place, which is only like less than 10 minutes away. And I had prayed for him so much that I called her and I said, tell the police not to leave. And she said, he's dead. And so I said, after I hung up, I just prayed to God again. Yeah. And I remember saying, I don't even know if this is something I can do, but I'm his mother. You gave him to me. I'm going to pray on his behalf again. I just remember praying for him, knowing that he was dead. So when we got there were two policemen on the couch, and they told us that he had died, and we thought it would be an overdose, whether intentional or accidental, but it wasn't. Somebody had taken his life. Somebody shot him. And I remember one of the policemen saying, he didn't suffer. Yeah. And I hate suffering. I almost hate suffering more than death, if they're they're going to die, because I just hate to see prolonged suffering.
It's not easy to see at all.
No, it's really hard. So that gave me actually peace, because I felt like he didn't suffer. He just died quickly. Yes. That gave me peace.
Absolutely.
And I know that God gave me forgiveness for the guy that actually pulled the trigger right away.
It was just an immediate.
It was, yeah. I mean, yeah. It was. None of the rest of my family were, and it was almost like I couldn't say much, because they were so angry, and like, why wouldn't you be angry? But God had given me peace.
It was almost like not something that you were even choosing. It was just a gift that you
felt
like
that
God gave you.
And you know what? Forgiveness is a gift. It's such a gift. I forgave him. Absolutely. And it freed me.
That's incredible. What was it like to kind of process life after you lost Christopher?
I know that God didn't take him 1 minute too soon. I know that God, I stand on his, that he took him at the right time. Yeah. I know this too. This is what I also believe. This is what I believe too. I think God is a good God no matter what.
Yes.
And so if you're in heaven, if you get to go to heaven, you'll be happy there.
Yes.
But if you don't, you probably wouldn't be happy there.
Yeah. That's just a lot of trust and a lot of faith.
Yeah.
It really is. Dory, I know that there's been so many ups and downs with your story, and I appreciate you just sharing some of the struggles that you've experienced through this, but also the strength that you've received as a gift from God to navigate this. I just wonder if you could share just a little bit for someone who's watching at now or maybe in the future who perhaps loves someone who's addicted. What's some advice perhaps that you would share with that person?
Can I get my little list out? 'Cause
Yeah, please.
I really want to share.
Yes, and we really want you to share
because
this part. Absolutely.
So I'm going to say the things that I learned from loving an addict.
Yes.
Number one, I was trying to be their Holy Spirit, his Holy Spirit, to convict him, and I'm not. I'm his mom.
Yes.
So I realized, that wasn't my duty. Number two, I needed to allow him to feel the consequences of every decision and not shield him from the pain.
Which is I know for so
Super
many
hard.
people, so hard to do that because oftentimes in our minds it's just like, hey, if we can help this person not have to face the full consequences, it should be easier for them to, pull out of it. But so often that doesn't work.
And do it
that way.
early on.
Yes.
That's why you want to teach kids early on, like the consequences of their choices, because the consequences of a little kid's, choices insignificant compared to, a teenager. Number three was my love for him was unconditional. And I realized he taught me so much. He taught me that because he did something that was horrific in my eyes. And I didn't know. I remember asking myself, can you love this kid? And I thought about it, and I thought, I love him no matter what. I don't like what he's done. I hate what he's done.
Yes.
But I love him. I want best for him.
Yes.
Number four, don't shame them. They're already shaming themselves. Okay. Address the drugs and situation, but always let them know that they're important and loved. That's hard.
Yes.
I yelled at him. We screamed. Whatever.
Yes.
But it was because I loved him.
Yes.
Number five is overprotection probably does more harm than good. So let their failure propel them to do better. That's kind of like the other. Mm-hmm. Then I said, keep open communication. Try to be gentle. Sometimes it's hard. Listen more than you talk.
Yes.
Set clear boundaries. Set them early. Yes. Clear rules and consequences. Celebrate progress.
That's a big one.
Yep, I got an exclamation point behind that. Lean hard onto the God that loves your child and loved one even more than you do. Pray fervently. Pray always.
I know that was
Have
a huge
everyone
part.
pray for them.
Yes.
I believe it allows. I think we have to ask. I think of God as, I think of Satan as mafia. He's going to beat you up, kick you, hit you, stab you when you're down. And God is over here just knocking on your door. He's a gentleman. He's not gonna infringe on your rights. But once you say, come on in, he's gonna tell his angels, go sick him.
Yeah.
So we have to intercede for our loved ones.
Absolutely.
And then last but not least, always remember that as God is good, fair, and loving. So much so that he has given us freedom to choose things or ways that are not his. He doesn't want us to be robots like AI.
Yeah.
He wants your heart and your loved one's heart, but won't force it. Trust that his ways are best.
I love that, Dory. I really appreciate you sharing that. And Dory, thank you so much for taking some time to share with us this evening. I'm so touched by your story, and I really appreciate, again, you sharing some of the most tender parts about your family's life with us here this evening. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For those of you who are watching right now, we're going to turn at this time in just a few moments to our teaching from Pastor Richie Halverson. But we want to remind you, after this video plays, we'll have a Q&A session with Dory. If you have questions that you may want to ask, we encourage you, even now, you can put those in the form by clicking the link on the description in the video. So we encourage you to do that. And now we want to turn our attention to the teaching from Pastor Richie.
Welcome to Unchained, Hope and Healing from Addiction. You know, it's not easy to break the chains that hold us back. It doesn't happen overnight. But if we work it, it works. That's a saying that I would often hear in the program. Keep coming back. It works if we work it. So far in our series, we've seen how each of us have chains that hold us back, something keeping you from living life to its fullest. The same power and principles that broke through my chain of opioid addiction can break through yours. Whatever is holding you back. But we've got to break through the denial and get honest. We've got to get real. We've got to say, you know what, I need help. We also have to believe that help is possible. Because without hope, a miracle cannot happen. We've got to be open-minded. We've got to believe there is something bigger, stronger than us that can. Step 1, I can't. Step 2, he can. Step 3, I'll let him. Now that we have a hope that a miracle can happen, it's time to step out in faith. People have asked me, what is the difference between belief and faith? So we learned about belief last time. So if I move to a town and a friend of mine tells me a good mechanic and I go to them and I say, hey, I'd like this to get fixed. I believe, because of what my friend told me, that I can take my car to this mechanic and he'll do a good job. However, if I take my car to him and he does do a good job, the next time I bring it back, then it's not belief or hope, it's faith. I know that he's going to do a good job. Now that we have hope a miracle can happen, it's time to step out in faith. Faith is the manifestation of belief and trust in God. James 2:20 says faith apart from works is useless. It doesn't do us any good. James 2:26, as the body apart from the spirit is dead, so also faith apart from works is dead. James 2:18 in the Message, faith and works fits together hand in glove. James 2:14, what good is it if you say you have faith but don't show it? Can that kind of faith save anyone? So if you want to live an unchained life, you have to start living what you say you believe. That's what faith is. We have an excellent example of faith in the 5th chapter of John. So we've looked at the 3rd chapter, we've looked at the 4th chapter, and now we're going to look at the 5th chapter. In the 5th chapter, we have this guy, and he's laying by a pool. John 5:2-6. Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool in Aramaic called Bethesda, which has 5 roofed colonnades. In these lay a multitude of invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had already been there in a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be healed?" Now at first it seems like a pretty stupid question. Do I want to be healed? Well, what do you think? Verse 5 says he had been there in the same sick state for 38 years. I wonder, how many years have you been in the same state that you're in right now? How many years are you going to just feel drowned by the debt? How many years are you going to feel chained by circumstance and problems? How many years are you going to be chained to a dysfunctional and toxic relationship? For 38 years, this man has been coming to the pool only to leave the same way he showed up. How many seminars are you going to go to on anger and still leave the same way you showed up? How many classes on forgiveness do we have to go to finally have a breakthrough? Now, some translations say, do you want to be healed? Others say, do you want to be well? But my favorite says, do you want to be whole? The Greek word isn't just talking physical, it's talking spiritual, it's talking emotional. We are physical, emotional, mental, spiritual beings. And whenever one of those elements are out of whack, we don't feel the fullest, we don't live to the fullest of our potential. Man, God's number one goal for us has always been wholeness. Which is why when you ask God for help, I've noticed something. He'll always go deeper than you really want him to go. At first, I just wanted some help with a drug problem. But then he kept digging and digging because you see, the drugs were only a symptom of a much bigger, deeper problem. Just being drug-free won't give you wholeness. Have you ever heard of the term a dry drunk? A dry drunk, They're just as miserable and mean as before. They're just without drinking. In fact, most of the time, a dry drunk is so miserable to be around, the people that live with them wish they would go back to drinking. Anything short of wholeness isn't enough. You see, until you feel completely unchained, you'll never feel and experience life to its fullest potential. And so in verse 3, it says, there were a multitude of invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. Just as there was a variety of problems at this pool, there are a variety of problems that all of us are facing in our lives. Some of us have money problems. Some of us have marital problems. Some of us have health problems. Some of us have job problems. Some of us have drug problems. Some of us have eating disorders. Some of us have bad attitude problems. And like this broken man, what we often do is we look at a pool and we think, if I could just get that, everything would work out. If I could just get the degree, everything would work out. If I could just get more money, everything could work out. If I could just get married, everything would work out. If I could just get unmarried, everything would work out. But those things won't give you wholeness. Jesus asked, do you want to be whole? Not, do you want to get married? Not, do you want to be rich? Because to give you those things wouldn't be nice. It would be torture, because then you would believe that those things can give you wholeness, that they can make you happy, and they can't. Do you want to be whole? And the sick man answered, well, I have no one to put me into the pool. That's the wrong answer. The pool won't give you wholeness. Popularity won't give you wholeness. Pay raise won't give you wholeness. A good waistline won't give you wholeness. A new spouse won't give you wholeness. Only an experience with something bigger, better, and more powerful than that stuff will give you wholeness. You see, the legend of this story and the legend during this time was that if you got in the water at just the right time, when it moved, that you would be healed. But you know what? You would think that at some point over 38 years, this guy would have realized, you know what? I don't think it works. I've been here for 38 years, and I've never seen anybody healed by this pool. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. How many times do you have to go to the dope to realize that the dope doesn't work? How many times do you got to go to that website to realize, you know what? It's not worth the shame that I'm going to feel. How many times are you going to realize that the worrying never works, money never works, arguing never works, complaining never works? But this is the thing. God is offering something that works right now. Like with the paralytic, Jesus is asking each of us, do you want to be whole? The English Standard Version calls them invalids. The King James Version calls them impotent. It's a word that means ineffectual, inadequate, useless. In a Greek word, it means weak, sickly. But you know what? Think of some of the amazing people in history that have had disabilities. Helen Keller and Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles. You've got so many different people that didn't allow their disability to define them or their circumstance to stop them. And so there's got to be more than physical disability here. You see, I believe the greatest obstacle to their wholeness, to being unchained, wasn't physical, but it was spiritual. It was emotional. It was a lack of faith. It wasn't a lack of their health. It was a lack of their belief, their faith. And the sick man answered, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool, and the water is stirred up, and while I'm going, another steps down before me." And you see, he's blaming other people for his current situation. It's always easier to blame someone else for what's wrong with you, but you've got to take responsibility for your own life. You can't blame anyone else. No one is getting between you and wholeness but you. We can't blame anyone else for our chains. And look, we may not be responsible for everything that happens to us in life, but we are responsible with how we respond with what happens to us in life. And so here we have Jesus, this miracle worker, the resurrection and life. He's touched people and healed them. The blind see, the disabled walk, the mute can talk, the deaf can hear. He's standing right in front of this guy asking, do you want to be whole? And this guy brings up a pool. He's looking past Jesus. Hey, Jesus, could you move over? I need to keep an eye on the pool and make sure nobody gets in there before me. You see, his faith is weak, not his legs. His faith, not his legs, are what's coming between him and wholeness. He's so focused on his present dilemma, he can't see the solution staring at him in his face. In John 5:6, I love it. It says, Jesus already knew that he had been there for a long time. You see, your marriage needs help. God already knows. Your body needs healing. God already knows. You have a spending problem. God already knows. He knows how long you've been where you are, and he knows how long you've been going through what you're going through. Even when we don't know what to do, God already knows. Do you want to be whole? And the sick man answered, Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool. Jesus just cuts him off and he gets to the point. Get up, take up your bed, and walk. You see, the principle of faith is the getting up. You have to get up. This guy wasn't healed until he got up. Information alone won't lead to transformation. You can go to seminar after seminar. You can go through this whole series. Information alone won't lead to transformation. Information plus participation, that equals transformation. You've got to participate in the unchaining experience. You've got to participate in this process. It works if and only if we work it. Faith is living what you have learned. It's putting your life in God's hands and trusting him. If it works when you work it. The moment the paralytic practiced what he heard, the chain of paralyzation was broken in his life. Someone who's been stuck for 38 years is moving. But the question to you is, will you trust him enough to just get up right now? Maybe you don't know what you believe. Maybe you don't even know if there is a God. Will you just give it a chance? Would you just give it a try to see if there's something to it? Ephesians 2:4-6 says, But God, being rich in mercy because of the great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in our trespasses, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved. And check this out, verse 6, and raised us up with him. Get up. And seated us with him in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus. I don't know about you, but I want to raise up today. This message is for people who are ready to rise up. This series are for people who are done rolling over and giving up. Stop letting your addiction chain you. Stop letting the past paralyze you. Stop letting haters get inside your head. Do you want to be whole? At the end of this scene in John 5:8, it says that the Jews were seeking all the more to kill Jesus. When Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead in John 11:53, it says from that day on, they made plans to put him to death. So think about this. Every miracle Jesus performed was a death sentence for Jesus. He knew what healing this man would cost. He knew that to make this man's legs move meant that his own legs would need to be nailed to a cross and could not move. For this man to be able to pick up his bed and walk, he would have to pick up his cross and walk. The only way to give wholeness was if he went into the grave and died. To break your chains, Christ's body was broken. That's how much God loves you. Listen, no one else has ever done that for you. No one has ever done what God has done for you. So why not trust him when he says, get up? Why don't you give him a chance? Do you want to live an unchained life? Do you want to be whole? The question is coming through to each of us right now. And there's only one real good answer. Yes, I want wholeness. Well, then you got to get up. You got to make the decision right now to get up. What you've been doing hasn't worked. So why not try something new?
Sorry for that. We want to welcome you back here. Pastor Richie, thanks so much for that teaching this evening. And thanks for the words of hope that you're sharing with us. At this time, we're going to turn to one of my favorite parts of the program, and that's doing question and answer time with our guest this evening. Dory, thank you so much once again for being here.
You're welcome.
We want to remind you, if anyone would like to ask any questions this evening, that you're welcome to put into use the anonymous form that you can find in the description of the video. You can put questions there if you like to. I do want to start off with this question, Dory. And again, you kind of spoke to this a little bit, but I think it's just something that hits home for individuals. When you were going through seeing Christopher struggle with addiction, for you, was there a point when you wanted to kind of minimize what was happening and kind of like hide what he was going through, or did you kind of just put it out there for everyone? What was kind of your response for that?
I'm probably different. I didn't want to like broadcast it, but I don't think I hid it a lot.
Yes.
I think I kind of addressed it.
For you, it was just a real problem that you wanted to get real help
Yeah.
from. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's like if there's an issue, I want to deal with it now.
Absolutely. Another question that we have is, what advice would you give for someone who loves someone who's an addict, but they don't want to be helped?
Pray.
Pray.
Pray. Have lots of people pray. Our prayers move the hand of God. Allow God to intervene. And then I would keep trying.
Yes.
I would keep trying. And let them know that you love them.
Yeah.
Always let them know that you love them.
That's good advice. And you spoke to this a little bit, but the question is what advice would you have for someone who again loves an addict, for them to take care of themselves? Like what kind of advice would you give for them to kind of protect themselves as they're trying to support someone that they love? Then they realize it's a big challenge.
Again, pray.
Yeah.
Seek God, and you have to have somebody that you can trust, that you can talk to, for sure. And I think it's wise to take some time to just to feed yourself, because I will tell you, I used to say this. I feel like loved ones of an addict it almost hurts us worse than the addict, because they go to La La Land and don't whatever, but we see all their pain and their sorrow, and we want to fix them, and we want to help them, and we want to take them out of that, and we're powerless to do that.
So just that challenge of it. So, well, Dory, I appreciate it. Thank you for answering those questions for us this evening. And again, thank you so much for sharing. It's always a joy to talk with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. For those of you who are still here watching, thank you as well for the questions, for tuning in. And for those of you who are in the situation where you love someone who's facing an addiction, just know that you're not alone. Know that there's others who have gone through similar things, and that we're praying for you. For those who are watching who are in the midst of an addiction, know that you're loved as well. And we hope that these meetings are helping provide some hope for you. At this time, we want to give away our free drawing for the book by our presenter, Pastor Richie Halverson, The Darkness Will Not Overcome. And this evening, our winner is Mia. And so we will get in touch with you. We have your contact information. Thanks for joining with us. We'll send you an email, make sure that you get a copy of this. As we finish up here, we just want to thank you again so much for tuning in with us. I hope that you'll join us the rest of this week. We have 6 more programs for the next 6 nights in a row, starting right here at 7:15 Eastern Time. And so once again, please share with others, like and share so that more people can be part of this. And thanks for being part of these conversations. We're praying for you and hope that we can see you back here tomorrow. Thanks so much, and God bless.